It's raining. Confining Jimin to the studio. Jungkook comes with an umbrella and one confession that changes everything. Don't open that door, Jimin, unless you're ready to hear everything. The words slammed against the studio walls harder than the rain pelting the windows. Jimin froze, fingers suspended above the ivory keys, his heart suddenly louder than the storm outside. The heavy glass door to Studio 3 trembled in its frame as Jungkook stood just beyond it, his black hoodie soaked, hair dripping, chest rising and falling as if he had sprinted the whole way there. Jimin's breath caught. Not because Jungkook was here, not even because of the sudden appearance in this rainstorm, but because he had said it. Everything. The clock on the wall ticked. The LED lights bathed the room in soft blues and purples, like bruises blooming in silence. Jimin hadn't moved from that stool in hours, his back aching and his mind locked in a loop of melodies that refused to form. Rain had imprisoned him, yes, but it was the memories that had kept him there. Jungkook opened the door slowly. Water pooled around his shoes as he stepped inside. He didn't bring the umbrella in, he let it drop outside, abandoned on the wet hallway floor like a discarded excuse. There was no shield between them now. No layers. I wasn't going to come, Jungkook said, voice low, ragged from the cold or something deeper. But then I saw the lights on. I knew you'd be here. You always are when it rains. Jimin's fingers finally touched the keys again, an accidental chord, minor, dissonant. You shouldn't be here, he said, though his voice lacked conviction. Maybe not. Jungkook walked closer, each step slow, deliberate. But I needed to say it. And I think you need to hear it. The storm roared like an orchestra outside, wind howling through Seoul's empty streets. But in this studio, a quiet war was being fought. Jimin's eyes flicked up to meet Jungkook's, and in that moment, the distance between them, weeks of avoidance, years of unspoken things, shrank to the space between two heartbeats. Jungkook stopped just short of touching the piano. His hands clenched at his sides. The truth is, he began, then hesitated. Rain tapped against the window like impatient fingers. I didn't walk away that night because I didn't feel the same. I walked away because I felt too much. Jimin's stomach twisted. A surge of emotion pressed against his ribs, relief, confusion, longing, and something darker, fear. Don't, he whispered. Not if it's going to make it worse. I can't promise it won't, Jungkook said. But I'm tired of silence. Aren't you? Jimin laughed, bitter and broken. Silence is safer. Silence doesn't destroy friendships. Or bands. Or futures. But it kills everything else, Jungkook said. And it's killing me. For a moment, all Jimin could hear was the rain and the fragile beat of his own heart. He looked down at his hands, these hands that had shaped music, built stories from sound, touched Jungkook's skin once under the flicker of rehearsal lights. Regret had lived in his chest ever since that night. Regret, and a question he was too afraid to ask. Jungkook sat on the couch across from the piano, shoulders soaked, steam rising faintly from his body. You think I don't remember every word you said that night? Every look? Every almost? You left, Jimin said. You didn't even turn back. I had to. Jungkook's voice cracked. Because if I stayed, I would have told you I loved you. And I didn't know what would happen next. I was scared. So was I. The confession hovered between them, heavier than the storm. Jungkook reached into the pocket of his jacket and pulled out something small, a charm, silver and worn. Jimin recognized it instantly, a piece from the keychain they'd both bought during their first tour in Japan. His half had broken years ago. Jungkook had kept his. You said we weren't meant to be anything more than music, Jungkook said softly. But music changes. It evolves. And maybe we were just unfinished. Jimin's throat tightened. He wanted to say something, anything, but language was failing him in a way music never had. I don't know what you want, Jimin, Jungkook continued, but I'm here. And if you want me gone, I'll leave. No questions. But if there's even a chance, just one note, that you feel it too, say something. Play something. Anything. Jimin looked at the keys. At his hands. At Jungkook. Then he played not a full song. Not even a melody. Just a single chord, soft, aching, suspended in the air like breath before a kiss. Jungkook's eyes closed, and for the first time in years, the silence between them sang. The studio is no longer safe, and neither are the secrets you kissed me, Jimin said, barely louder than a breath, his back to Jungkook. Then you disappeared for 2 months. Jungkook stood silent, frozen in place. The echo of that unresolved memory crept through the air like smoke, dangerous, suffocating. The walls of Studio 3, once a refuge, now felt like they were closing in on both of them. I didn't disappear, Jungkook answered eventually, each word deliberate, like stepping barefoot through glass. I left. There's a difference. Jimin turned, eyes burning. You left me. Thunder cracked somewhere outside, loud and cruel. The lights flickered overhead, casting brief, fractured shadows across Jungkook's face. For a heartbeat, Jimin saw the boy he once knew, the fearless one, the one who used to laugh too loudly and care too deeply. But now there was something else behind those eyes. Regret. Shame. 1,000 unsaid things. I had no right to kiss you, Jungkook said. But I wasn't thinking. That night, we were drunk, exhausted, raw from the tour, and you were thinking, Jimin cut in sharply. Don't rewrite it. I know exactly what you were thinking. Because I was thinking it too. Jungkook looked away. Jimin stepped closer. You kissed me because you wanted to. And I kissed you back because I've wanted to for years. Then you left, no messages, no calls, and when we finally saw each other again at the label meeting, you pretended like nothing had happened. I didn't know what else to do. You could have fought for me, Jimin said, his voice breaking now. You could have said something. Instead, I got silence. Like it meant nothing. Jungkook ran his fingers through his wet hair, frustration bleeding out of every movement. Do you think it was easy for me? You're not just anyone, Jimin. He stopped himself. Then he stepped forward, eyes blazing. You're the one thing I could never allow myself to want. Not like that. Not in this world. Not under these cameras. And yet, you still wanted me enough to take that risk once, Jimin whispered, his face inches away. Why not again? Jungkook's breath hitched. He looked at Jimin like a man standing at the edge of a cliff, tempted to jump even knowing the fall might kill him. Because I'm a coward, he admitted. The honesty struck harder than any lie. Jimin stepped back, hurt flashing across his face. At least you finally said it. Jungkook moved suddenly, like the storm had passed from the sky into his chest. I didn't come here to fight. I came here because I saw that charm in my drawer and I remembered what we used to be. What we still could be. But maybe I was wrong. He turned toward the door. Jimin didn't stop him, but then, just before Jungkook reached the handle, it happened. A phone vibrated on the mixing console. Jungkook glanced down. The screen lit up with a single name neither of them expected. Minute Yoongi. The message preview was visible. Don't tell him yet. He doesn't know the full story. Silence swallowed the room. Jimin's breath stilled. What is that? He asked, voice flat but dangerous. Jungkook didn't answer. Jimin marched over, snatched the phone. Don't tell me what, Jungkook. Jungkook's jaw clenched. It's not what you think, then what is it? Jimin exploded. What the hell don't I know? Put the phone down. No, the air crackled, hotter than the storm outside. You want to talk about truth? Jimin's voice was rising now, loud, wild. You show up here with wet clothes and your goddamn heart in your hand, but you're still hiding things. Still. After everything. Jungkook took a step forward. Yoongi was protecting you, from what? From the contract changes, Jungkook said. Finally Jimin blinked. What? They offered me a solo expansion deal last year. International backing. New creative control. But they made it conditional. On me distancing myself from you. Jimin stared at him like he'd been slapped. I didn't take it, Jungkook continued. I walked out. That's why I disappeared. Yoongi told me not to tell you because he thought it would break you. And it did anyway, Jimin whispered. Just not the way you thought. A different kind of silence took root. One where everything Jimin believed had cracked open and spilled out. The late-night arguments with managers, the sudden shift in energy during rehearsals, the confusion, the coldness, it all made sense now. You let me think it was me, he said, voice shaking. That I did something wrong. That I read everything wrong. I thought I was protecting you, Jungkook said softly. I thought if I could just stay away, maybe I could keep your reputation clean. Keep you safe. I never asked you to be my shield, Jimin said, tears burning. I needed you to be my partner. I'm sorry, Jungkook whispered, voice wrecked. I'm sorry for everything. Jimin's shoulders slumped. The fight in him burned out, leaving only ashes. He walked over to the piano and sat again, hands trembling. Play something, Jungkook pleaded. Anything. I need to know if there's still music left between us. Jimin looked up at him, eyes wet but defiant. No, he said. Jungkook's breath caught. I'm not going to play something to fix this, Jimin continued. Because we're not just broken, Jungkook. We're rewritten. And if we're going to play again, we start over. From silence. Jungkook swallowed hard. Then I'll wait. However long it takes. Jimin looked at him for a long moment. Then, without a word, he stood, walked past Jungkook, and opened the studio door. The rain had stopped. The world was quiet. Jimin stepped into the hall. Jungkook remained, alone in the studio, and somewhere, far away, a song waited to be written again. The silence between songs isn't empty, it's loaded. The rehearsal room was colder than usual. Or maybe it just felt that way because Jimin hadn't slept in 2 nights. He stood barefoot on the wooden floor, eyes closed, chest rising and falling in a rhythm that didn't match the metronome echoing through the speakers. His shirt clung to his back with sweat, but the chill inside him had nothing to do with temperature. Across the room, Jungkook watched. Not just casually. Not like before. He watched Jimin like a man trying to memorize the steps of someone slipping away. You're late, Jimin said without looking. You're early, Jungkook answered, voice quiet. Jimin opened his eyes. Their gazes met in the mirror. We haven't even talked since the studio, Jungkook tried, stepping forward. There's nothing left to talk about, Jimin replied, adjusting his mic pack. You said we start from silence. Well, I'm still here. Waiting. Jimin turned, finally facing him fully. Waiting doesn't fix what you broke. You think I don't know that? Jungkook said, voice cracking. I wake up every day replaying the moment I kissed you. Not because I regret it. But because I didn't fight for what came after. Jimin's eyes were tired, but sharp. Then why didn't you? Because I've been scared my whole damn life, Jungkook said, suddenly loud. Scared of being more than what they made me. Scared of what the world would say if I reached for something real. Scared of you. Jimin blinked. Scared of how much you make me feel, Jungkook finished, breathing hard. The door opened without a knock. Yoongi walked in, holding a clipboard and a grim expression. His eyes flicked from Jungkook to Jimin and back again. Rehearsals cancelled, he said, voice flat. Why? Jimin asked. Yoongi sighed. Because Dispatch is onto something. Jungkook straightened. What do you mean? They've got footage, Yoongi said. From last year. From after that night. Jimin's stomach turned. What footage? Yoongi looked directly at Jungkook. Of you. At Jimin's apartment. The night you disappeared. Jungkook paled, and now they're threatening to release it unless we give them something juicier. They're digging hard. Something's going to come out. Jimin stepped back like the air had punched him. Are you serious? Yoongi nodded. It's not just gossip blogs anymore. This is pressure. Corporate. Political. They're looking for scandal. Let them look, Jungkook said, jaw tight. I'm done running. Yoongi walked up to him, low and firm. That's noble, kid. But this isn't just about you anymore. This could destroy both your careers. His career. Jimin stood frozen. They'll twist it, Yoongi added. They'll say you manipulated him, Jimin. That you seduced your bandmate. That you've been hiding your relationship to gain fans. It won't matter what the truth is. The damage will be done. No, Jimin said, finally finding his voice. No. They can't. They will, Yoongi said. They already started asking the staff questions. Jungkook shook his head. Then let them come. I'll face them. No, you won't, Yoongi snapped. You'll do what we always do. You'll shut up. You'll smile. You'll let us fix it. I'm done pretending, Jungkook said, stepping closer to him. Yoongi grabbed his arm. You're not just some solo act now. You're part of a machine. One wrong move and they'll chew us all up. Is that what you want? Jungkook stared at him, torn. Jimin spoke, quiet but clear. Then leak it. Yoongi turned to him, stunned. What? Leak it, Jimin repeated. On our terms. Not theirs. Yoongi's jaw clenched. You don't know what you're saying. I do, Jimin said. If they're going to come for us, then we don't let them frame the story. We tell it first. Jungkook looked at him, eyes wide with disbelief and something more admiration, fear, love. Jimin, are you sure? No, Jimin said. But I'm done letting fear dictate my life. You asked if there's still music between us? There is. But it's raw. It's ugly. And maybe it's not what they want to hear. Yoongi cursed under his breath, pacing. Let them come, Jimin said again, stronger now. We've survived worse. Yoongi stared at them both, then finally threw the clipboard onto the couch. You realize this could blow everything up? Jungkook took Jimin's hand, slow, deliberate. Then let's start the fire ourselves, he said for the first time. Jimin didn't pull away. Yoongi shook his head, but something in his expression softened resignation, maybe even pride. I'll talk to the PR team, he muttered. We'll need a strategy. A timeline. Damage control. As Yoongi exited, the room fell quiet again. Jungkook turned to Jimin. Are you really okay with this? No, Jimin said. But I'm okay with you. That has to be enough. Jungkook leaned in, forehead resting against his. Then let's be brave. Together. And in that fragile, reckless moment, they were not idols. Not scandals. Just two people choosing each other against a world that never asked what they wanted. The leak, the lie, and the loyalty no one expected. You need to see this now. Taehyung's voice was sharp, cutting through the stale morning air like a blade. He tossed his phone onto the table, screen already open, the headline screaming in bold, exclusive, hidden romance between BTS members exposed, secret footage revealed. Jimin's coffee froze halfway to his lips. Across from him, Jungkook's shoulders stiffened. The cafe had just opened, quiet and calm, a rare slice of peace. Now it was unraveling. Jimin grabbed the phone. There they were, blurry night vision photos. Grainy video. The two of them huddled close on Jimin's apartment balcony, arms around each other, a silhouette of a kiss. The kind of intimacy no one could explain away. No choreography. No performance. Just them. Raw. Real. Unscripted. Taehyung leaned forward, his jaw locked. Yoongi said we had until next week. What happened? They must have jumped the gun, Jungkook muttered, eyes darkening. Or someone inside leaked it early. Someone inside? Taehyung's gaze turned sharp. You think it's one of us? No, Jimin said quickly. We can't go there. Not now. But he wasn't so sure. Taehyung exhaled hard. Have you seen the comments? Jimin didn't want to. But he did. They scrolled. Thousands of them. Divided. Violent. Worshipful. Vile. I knew it. Always knew there was something between them. I feel betrayed. They're human. Leave them alone. This ruins everything. This makes everything. I hope they're happy. I really do. They lied to us. Protect them. Cancel them. It was a storm with no direction. No rules. Just chaos. I need to talk to Yoongi, Jungkook said, already reaching for his phone, but Taehyung's hand shot out, stopping him. No. Not yet. You don't understand, this isn't just gossip. There's already a response coming from the label. What kind of response? Jimin asked, throat dry. Taehyung hesitated. They're going to deny it. Jungkook's voice dropped to a dangerous low. What? They're going to spin it, Taehyung said. Say it was out of context. Fabricated. That it was a close moment between friends, edited and twisted. They're putting it all on dispatch. Claiming defamation. Jimin stood abruptly, the chair screeching behind him. They're going to erase us. Not if we speak first, Jungkook said, standing too. Taehyung looked between them. Are you both insane? You don't understand what's coming. This isn't just your story anymore. This affects all of us. The band. The fans. The legacy. That legacy was never built on lies, Jimin snapped. Taehyung looked away, jaw clenched. You think I don't care, he said finally, voice low and trembling. I watched you two destroy yourselves for years, pretending nothing was there. I covered for you. Lied for you. And now you're just going to light a match and let it all burn? No, Jungkook said. We're going to stop hiding. And if that means things change, so be it. What about the rest of us? Taehyung asked, his voice suddenly raw. What happens when sponsors pull out? When the world stops seeing us as perfect? When everything we built starts crumbling? Jimin stepped forward. Then we find out who's really standing with us. The silence between them was deafening. Outside, a delivery scooter zipped past, oblivious to the war inside the cafe. Taehyung looked at Jungkook. You're really in this? For him. Jungkook didn't hesitate. Always. Taehyung stared at him a moment longer. Then he nodded once. Then let me help you do this right. Jimin blinked. What? I'm not going to stand in your way, Taehyung said. But if you're going public, it has to be on your terms. Not theirs. We do it clean. No stunts. No theatrics. Just truth. Jungkook glanced at Jimin, unsure. Jimin hesitated, then nodded slowly. Okay. Hours later, the private studio was packed with tension. The lights were dim, the camera simple and still. Just a chair. Just a mic. No edits. No script. Jimin sat first, his hands were shaking as he laced them in his lap. This isn't easy, he began. But maybe it shouldn't be. He looked into the lens, as if speaking directly to the world that had both loved and suffocated him for a decade. I've always said music saved me. That it gave me a voice when I didn't know who I was. But somewhere along the way, I stopped using that voice for the truth. Jungkook stepped into the frame, wordless, and sat beside him. Jimin glanced at him, then continued, I won't lie anymore. Yes, there's something between us. There has been for a long time. We didn't plan for it. We didn't expect it. But it's real. Jungkook cleared his throat. I know some of you might feel betrayed. Hurt. Maybe even angry. And I understand. But we never stopped loving this group. Or you. We just, finally started loving ourselves, too. Jimin nodded, emotion rising. And each other. They sat there in the silence that followed. Letting it breathe. Letting it land. The upload went live at midnight. By 1:03 a.m., the internet was a battlefield. Support poured in. So did the backlash. Sponsors went silent. Some pulled out. International fanbases split in two. Celebrities reposted with cryptic captions. Former collaborators deleted tweets. The label was blindsided, but they didn't apologize, they didn't retract, and when Jimin woke up the next morning to find his phone filled with messages, some beautiful, some brutal, he turned to Jungkook, who was already awake, staring at the ceiling like it might collapse. They'll try to break us, Jimin whispered. Then we stay unbreakable, Jungkook replied, and outside, under a grey Seoul morning, people started to hear their truth not as scandal, but as song. Repercussions don't ask permission to destroy. The boardroom smelled like polished wood, sweat, and fear. No one was speaking. No one was breathing. Except for the clock, its slow, infuriating tick carved through the silence like a blade. Jimin sat stiffly at the far end of the long table. Jungkook was beside him, fingers laced tightly under the surface, hiding the tremor in his hands. On the opposite side, executives lined up like jurors at a public trial, each face stiffer than the last. No smiles. No warmth. Just damage control behind $1,000 suits and crossed arms. The head of the label, Director Han, adjusted his glasses and leaned forward. I want to be very clear, he said, voice cold. What you did has jeopardized not only your careers, but the financial future of this company and every artist under its roof. Jimin didn't flinch. What we did was tell the truth. Han's eyes narrowed. You told your truth. Without considering the ripple effect. You knew the contract terms. Clause 14.4, public actions that lead to reputational harm. You both signed it. Clause 14.4 doesn't define truth as harm, Jungkook said, his tone sharp. It defines exposure. Scandal. There's nothing scandalous about loving someone. There is when it costs us 2 international endorsement deals and a Japanese stadium tour in less than 24 hours, and snapped. A younger executive, maybe late 20s, shifted uncomfortably but said nothing. You're making this about money, Jimin said quietly. Everything is about money, Jimin, Han replied. You just forgot that. Silence ballooned again, choking the air. Then Yoongi stood from his seat at the back of the room, where he'd been watching like a shadow. Enough, he said, voice calm but deadly. You can threaten all you want, but you know exactly why they did it. Han raised an eyebrow. Oh, enlighten us. They did it because you were planning to erase them, Yoongi said. Just like you did with the others. The hidden relationships. The mental health leaves that were creative breaks. The truth you buried under PR and legalese. Han's jaw ticked. That's not how we handle internal affairs. No, Yoongi said, stepping forward. It's how you bury them. You build them up until they're no longer human, and then you expect them to live like gods. Emotionless. Sexless. Empty. Just vessels for profit. You're out of line. No, Yoongi growled. You were out of line the moment you made them choose between love and survival. Han stood. We're done here. Legal will be in touch. Until then, your group activities are suspended. Indefinitely. Jimin stood too. That's fine. Suspend us. Silence us. But you don't control the music. We do. Don't be so sure, Han said coldly. Ownership is a complicated thing. Jungkook felt the words like a slap. But he stayed standing. Unmoving afterward, the elevator ride down was suffocating. Jimin didn't speak. Jungkook stared at the floor numbers ticking by, as if they were counting down to something worse. Yoongi lit a cigarette the moment they stepped outside, ignoring the no-smoking sign. They're going to try to isolate you, he said, exhaling smoke. Pit you against the others. Make you out to be selfish. Be ready. Are they? Jungkook asked. Because we've already lost most of our fans. Our managers avoid our calls. Our stylists got reassigned. Everyone's pretending we're ghosts. They're not pretending, Jimin said quietly. They're deciding. A van passed. Billboards still bore their faces. Smiles. Lyrics. But the cracks were visible now. Later, back at Jimin's apartment, everything felt louder. The notifications. The knocks. The world. Taehyung came in through the side entrance, hoodie up, mask on, sunglasses covering his eyes. Someone from marketing leaked internal emails, he said as he pulled off his disguise. People are saying you two faked it for attention. That this is just queerbaiting for clout. Jimin looked ill. Are you serious? Taehyung nodded. And then others are saying it's brave. That you're saving lives. That you've given them hope. Jungkook sat heavily on the couch. So which is it? It's both, Taehyung said. It's always both. Jimin rubbed his face. What if we made it worse? Worse for who? Taehyung asked. The label. The fans who only loved a version of you they made up. Or worse for the kids out there who thought they'd never see people like them being real. Silence, then the door buzzed. Again Jungkook stood. Don't. But Jimin was already moving. He opened it, and froze. Standing in the hallway was his father, still in his business suit, as if he'd come straight from the office. No umbrella. Just eyes that burned with something unreadable. Appa, pack your things, his father said coldly. You're coming home. What? You've embarrassed this family long enough. Jimin stared at him. You came here to control me. I came here to salvage what's left of our name. I'm not going anywhere, Jimin said, voice shaking. His father stepped forward, invading the apartment like a force of nature. You think this is bravery? Living in sin in front of the entire nation? You're not just a disgrace, you're get out. Jungkook's voice was ice. Jimin's father turned slowly to him. You're the one who corrupted him. Filled his head with lies. No, Jungkook said. I loved him when you only saw him as an asset. A pause, then Jimin's father slapped him. Fast. Brutal, Jimin shouted. Jungkook staggered back. Taehyung moved, grabbing the older man by the collar. Get out now. Before I forget who you are. You'll regret this, the man hissed at Jimin. No, Jimin said through tears. I've been regretting you for years. The door slammed behind him and then, just silence. Jungkook was holding his cheek, a welt rising. Taehyung looked ready to murder someone. Jimin collapsed onto the floor, trembling. You okay? Jungkook asked softly, crouching beside him. No, Jimin whispered, tears falling freely now. But for the first time. I don't want to be alone. Jungkook pulled him close. Held him like the world wasn't ending, and maybe it was, but maybe some endings were necessary. Especially the ones that made room for the truth. Truth has a cost, and the payment always comes due. You're trending again. Number 1. Worldwide. Namjoon's voice echoed across the quiet living room like a warning wrapped in calm. He stood in the doorway, arms crossed, his phone glowing with articles, reaction videos, hot takes pouring in from every continent. Jimin didn't look up from the kitchen sink where he was washing dishes, as if pretending to do something normal could make the chaos disappear. Water kept running. So did the news cycle. What now? Jungkook asked from the couch, already exhausted, body curled up in a hoodie 2 sizes too big for him. Namjoon took a breath. The footage. The slap. It leaked. Silence hit the room like a dropped bomb. Jimin dropped the plate in his hands. It didn't break, but the sound of it hitting the porcelain basin cracked through his chest like thunder. His fingers gripped the edge of the sink. He felt dizzy, like the floor might fall away if he let go. What footage? Jimin asked, his voice hollow. Namjoon walked in, holding his phone out. Security cam in the hallway. Someone sold it. Probably a neighbor. On screen, a grainy, angled clip. Jimin opening the door. His father's voice indistinct but sharp. Jungkook stepping in. The slap. The fall. Taehyung's restraint. The shove. The words .it played over and over. Looping endlessly. No audio. Just violence, Namjoon said softly. People are speculating. Some think it's about money. Some think your father was an abusive parent from the start. Some think Jungkook is the victim. Some think he provoked it. I don't care what they think, Jungkook said, standing now. That's assault. He hit me. And no one gets to spin that. Jimin turned around slowly, his face pale. My father's a powerful man. He's going to bury this. He'll say it was doctored. He'll say you manipulated me, and that you lured me away from my career, my family. Then we hit back harder, Namjoon said. We give them more than rumors. Jungkook looked at him. What are you suggesting? Namjoon hesitated for the first time. You do an interview. A full sit-down. Unedited. Not just about the relationship, but everything. The control. The pressure. The emotional manipulation. The lies they made you live. Jimin stared at him. That could destroy everything. Namjoon met his eyes. Or it could finally set you free. Jungkook stepped between them. It's too risky. They'll come for him harder. I can take it, but I'm tired of being protected, Jimin said quietly. I've been protected my whole life. And all it's ever done is keep me silent. Namjoon nodded. I'll set it up. Private studio. Trusted journalist. Live broadcast. One night only. Jimin looked away. What if I say too much? Then it's said, Namjoon replied. And you'll never have to carry it alone again. That night, the studio was a box of nerves and low lights. Cameras were rolling. A respected journalist sat across from Jimin and Jungkook, her expression measured but empathetic. She was known for fairness. For cutting through bullshit without cruelty. We're not here to defend ourselves, Jimin said into the camera, nerves trembling through his fingers. We're here to tell the truth. Jungkook glanced at him, calm but alert. We've spent a decade living in the spotlight. But that spotlight isn't always warm. Sometimes it burns. Sometimes it blinds. And for a long time, we didn't see what it was doing to us. The journalist leaned forward. Can you tell us about that night? The confrontation that's now viral? Jimin swallowed hard. He came to take me home. Not as a father, but as a handler. He told me I was a disgrace. That I'd ruined the family name. And when Jungkook tried to defend me, he struck him. And you still haven't heard from him since. Jimin shook his head. I don't want to. What do you want? Jimin looked straight into the camera. I want the world to know I'm not ashamed. The room stilled. Millions of viewers watched in silence. Hearts stopped. Screens froze. I'm not ashamed to love Jungkook. I'm not ashamed to be vulnerable. I'm not ashamed of the scars the industry gave me. And if that ends my career, then maybe this career wasn't meant for someone like me in the first place. Jungkook reached out and took his hand, and I'm not leaving his side, Jungkook added. Not again. The journalist paused. What would you say to the fans who feel betrayed? Jimin's voice trembled. I'm sorry if it hurts. But I can't apologize for being real. For being human. The interview ended in silence. No grand send-off. No PR spin, just truth. The fallout came fast. The label issued a vague statement about emotional integrity and re-evaluating partnerships. Sponsors dropped. But new ones reached out. International queer foundations offered solidarity. Celebrities posted messages of support. Others remained curiously quiet, but one message stood out. It came in an email to Jimin's private inbox, unsigned but unmistakable. He doesn't speak for all of us. I'm sorry he hurt you. I'm sorry I stayed quiet. You deserved better. Mom Jimin sat on the edge of his bed, tears rolling silently. Jungkook came in, towel slung over his shoulder, fresh from a shower. Bad news? He asked. Jimin handed him the phone. Jungkook read it, then wrapped his arms around him from behind. For a long time, they didn't speak, until finally, Jimin whispered, maybe we can survive this. Jungkook kissed his temple. We already are. What survives after the fire is always stronger. They stood at the edge of the rooftop, soul stretching out beneath them like a sleeping beast. The wind was cold but not cruel, and the stars flickered through the city haze like a secret only they could hear. Down below, the traffic lights pulsed red and gold. Somewhere, their faces still glowed from LED billboards, but fewer now. Some had been taken down. Some replaced. Some remained, quiet acts of defiance from those who still believed. Jimin leaned against the railing, hands stuffed into his coat pockets. Jungkook stood beside him, eyes on the skyline, not speaking yet. They had come here after the final group meeting, not as idols, not as bandmates, but as two people who had survived something the world tried to burn. The meeting had been complicated. Namjoon had fought for them. Yoongi, too. Taehyung had been quieter, distant even, but present. The others had hovered on the edges, some supportive, some still unsure. There was no dramatic confrontation, no explosive ending. Just a slow unraveling of what had once been tight, rehearsed harmony, and perhaps that was the real heartbreak. Not the screaming. Not the betrayal. But the quiet acknowledgement that things had changed and couldn't be undone. They want us to take an indefinite hiatus, Jimin said finally, his breath fogging the cold air. No tours. No releases. Just, go dark. Jungkook nodded. I know. They didn't say it like punishment, Jimin added. But it feels like one. Jungkook turned to him. Or maybe it's freedom. Jimin glanced at him. They're not asking us to disappear, Jungkook continued. They're just admitting we don't fit in the box anymore. And what if there's no room outside the box either? Then we build something new. Silence, Jimin exhaled. It's scary. Jungkook nodded. It is. But I don't regret it, Jimin said. I'd do it all again. Even the pain. Even the backlash. Jungkook smiled faintly. Same. They stood like that for a while, two silhouettes against a restless city. Behind them, the band was shifting into something else. Not ending. Not beginning. Just transforming, like everything real eventually does. Jimin looked up at the stars. Do you think we lost them? The fans? Some, Jungkook said honestly. But not all. The ones who stayed, they're the ones who always saw us for who we really were. Jimin reached for his hand, and Jungkook laced their fingers together without hesitation. It no longer felt like a risk. Just a rhythm. We could start over, Jimin whispered. Not as idols. As artists. As people. Jungkook nodded slowly. A project. A sound. Something raw. Unpolished. Jimin smiled. Honest. Jungkook tilted his head, considering. What would we call it? Jimin thought for a long time. Then, almost shyly, he said, The quiet between songs. Jungkook's heart tightened. Why that? Because that's where we found each other, Jimin replied. In the silence. In the space where everything else stopped. That's where I heard you clearly for the first time. Jungkook pulled him close, forehead resting against his. The city pulsed below, uncaring and enormous. But up here, there was peace. A new kind, not the kind sold in albums or bottled in awards, the kind built in truth. In scars. In love. I don't know what's coming, Jungkook murmured. But I'll face it with you. Jimin closed his eyes. We'll write it together. And when they kissed, this time with no cameras, no fear, no industry to silence it, it wasn't a rebellion. It was a beginning. The storm had passed, and in its place, music returned. Not the polished kind. But the real kind. The kind that hurt. The kind that healed. The kind that changed everything forever.